We're off to Bloemfontein in a couple of hours' time to celebrate the 100th Test match of the Beast. Faf de Klerk was outstanding for South Africa last week, but what have England got in response? Danny Cipriani begins the Test match off the bench, and we expect to see him in action. We know Brad Shields will start in the number 6 jersey. What impact will the Hurricane have on England's attempts to square the series 1-0 after a pulsating Test match last week? And much the same can be said about this Test series here. Lower scoring, but compelling nonetheless. Ireland lead the way over Australia with all their guns back, 16 points to 14. Curtly Beale, a penalty try also to Australia's scorecards. Andrew Conway, and then Johnny Sexton's been good from the boot on the most part. Stephen Ferris, Michael Liner in for this. Was that the response you were after, Stephen?
It was, very clinical by Ireland in the first half. They've managed possession, they've held onto the ball. It's been a bit of a frantic game. Both teams kind of silly penalties, few loose passes. But I think Ireland will be kicking themselves because I think they could be a few more points ahead. And Australia getting in at half-time, I think Czechia will be giving the guys a bit of a rocket because Australia were very, very poor. And for me, are lucky only to be a couple of points behind. But very good from Ireland. Hopefully more of the same in the second half.
Yeah, I think the discipline, Australia's discipline's been very poor. They're giving Johnny Sexton lots of shots at goal. And the territory and possession, Australia really struggled getting possession. I think Ireland's sort of 2-1 on that front. So sure. Australia lucky to be there, but they've been down in Ireland's territory twice and scored both times.
Well, they have indeed, and so I guess Ireland's dominance has come as the half has worn on, because this was in the, goodness me, this is the beginning of the second minute, and a set play, you believe, Michael, here?
No, not necessarily. I think it's played at such great pace, and both teams very, very keen to get involved and get going very early. But Australia have gone from side to side here. Foley then tracks across field and sees it back on the inside. Now, Ireland were a little bit stretched out on the left-hand side there, but then Beale sees this, and you can see the Irish players, Levy there, number 7, on Foley, getting across because they are short out wide. But also as a 7, you've got you see number 10 opposite you. That's my man. I'm going to track him down. Look at Beale. He sees there's a little gap through there. Foley's allowing himself to be tracked. Bang, there it is. And I just thought that was a really good play by Australia. It was at great pace, side to side, and then Beale at enormous pace straight through the middle.
Nicely set up, big blind side, which is always dangerous when you've got the wheels of the likes of Conway.
Yeah, it's a big blind side, and the reason why is because the winger is off the pitch.
Yeah.
You know, that he would be in that position, and they expose it. They get a good maul going forward. Don't take too much out of it. Conor Murray recognises, lovely floated pass over Andrew Conway, great finish in the corner. Unfortunately, he went off injured shortly after that with a bit of a bang, but that's great play by Ireland.
Just
got
great
execution.
Knees in the hips there. That's why he's gone off. But it was a very sensible play by Ireland with Corabetti off the pitch.
Sure. So they identified the space. Conway came back right again. This was an interesting one that unfolded because it was a double hit, almost a double blow for Ireland, Michael. The penalty try, but then the Cian Healy 10 minutes sin bin as well for cynical pulling down of the ball.
Yeah, we were looking at this at the time and said that's a really good setup by Australia, and we've cut it there, but there is a number of infringements throughout that sort of drive, and Healy paid the price by dragging it down there at the end. And yeah, it was that's only about the second time Ireland's 22 and all that half.
Yeah. And
they scored in 2 different ways, one through the forwards and the other one through the backs that we saw through Beale. So, it's a matter of Australia being more disciplined, getting possession and the territory. That's what they need to do.
Point from an Australian attack perspective, as Ireland denied them ball and denied them territory, and then the imposing figure, the jukebox, Tadhg Furlong, the power and the stretch and the score, and they have held on to set up a series decider, and we will be right there alongside them in Sydney. So has Peter O'Mahony, and next week, assuming he plays again for Ireland, that will be one of the biggest as they go for a decider in Sydney. They are thanking their many fans, Irish fans, of course, all over the world. There are certainly a few thousand down there in Melbourne, and smiles all round, and well they might. They'll know they were in a test match today, and they have bounced back from the slight disappointment of last week to hold off a fast-finishing Wallaby outfit and deservedly claim the victory. And in doing so, they hold on to the second-place ranking in the world rankings.